I've been using the 2020 HP Omen for a bit, and I've realized that it's probably the best bang for the buck gaming laptop on the market. Not only because of the performance, but also because of the massive amount of upgradability, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Now, in our previous video where I compared it to Apple's 16-inch MacBook Pro, a lot of you guys complained that this is not the 2020 HP Omen, but it is in fact a 2020 model, since it comes packed with Intel's new 10th generation Comet Lake 6-core processor, which was just recently released in 2020. Now, HP is redesigning the Omen with a simpler looking design that's slightly thinner, and that model is going to be released sometime next month. But this model is using the same exact components, but in the older chassis, and it's offered at a great price and possibly more expandability. I spec'd out both versions of it, and it turned out that the newer design was priced at around $400 to $500 more for the exact same specs, which I don't think is worth it. But enough about that, let's get into my review of this HP Omen 15, which comes with some pretty insane specs for its low price. But first, a huge thank you to Micro Center for providing us with this HP Omen laptop. Micro Center has 25 stores nationwide with an impressive variety of electronics, from gaming, VR, computer parts like processors, graphics, and everything else needed to build a PC. They also have a huge variety of desktops, laptops, and all the accessories that you need. Not only that, but they also have highly trained staff and low prices. Check out a local Micro Center today to get your hands on a variety of products before purchasing, or use the link below to view the HP Omen 15 at microcenter.com. For being a budget gaming laptop, I was impressed by the HP Omen 15's overall good build quality. I was expecting cheap plastic, but it's actually built really well for a budget laptop, unlike many other brands in this price range. Even though it's nowhere near as thin as the MacBook Pro, it's actually decently thin and light for a laptop which packs such a crazy graphics card. I also liked how they made use of the extra space and added a numpad next to the standard keyboard, and the keys themselves feel pretty good as well. On top of that, it also has 4 zones of RGB backlighting, which you don't get on some other laptops, like the new Razer Blade Stealth 13. But unfortunately, I don't really like this trackpad, which doesn't physically click. It relies on tap to click, or 2 physical buttons right below it. I discovered a lot of reliability issues where tap to click just wouldn't work sometimes, and it's just a much worse experience compared to many other Windows laptops. But of course, gamers will most likely be using a mouse, so for them, this really doesn't matter. I also like the variety of ports that you get, including an Ethernet port, which has a hinge that closes when you're not using it. So as far as the price, it's only $1,300, and for that, it comes packing a new 10th gen 6-core Intel chip, 1TB of SSD storage, 16 gigs of RAM, Wi-Fi 6, and an RTX 2060 graphics card, so that is seriously a killer deal for that low price. But after I compared it to the 16-inch MacBook Pro, I realized that this laptop is really only meant for one market, and that's gaming. You really can't do any productivity work on it because the display is basically no good in terms of resolution, color accuracy, and brightness. However, it's perfect for gaming since it's a 144Hz display and a perfect 1080p resolution, which gamers love to use. And because of the RTX 2060 graphics card, you can actually reach a consistent 144 FPS, unlike some other more compact gaming laptops which could struggle getting FPS that high. And this is not a Max-Q version of the 2060 either, so you're basically getting a ton of bang for your buck, since the 2070 is already quite a bit more expensive. I played some Call of Duty WarZone, and I was surprised to see that I was able to get a consistent 120 to 144 frames per second if I turned down some of the settings. And overall, it felt pretty smooth, and the anti-glare display helped get rid of any reflections and led to a pretty good gaming experience. I also noticed that if I maxed out the settings, I would be able to get around 70 to 80 FPS, which was also really impressive. And the RTX 2060 is probably the best bang for the buck laptop GPU, and it'll handle most new games at mid to high settings. So with gaming out of the way, let's get into the internals. We took the bottom casing off and discovered that quite a few different things are easily upgradable. You can swap out the M.2 SSD, you can easily switch out the RAM with up to 64 gigabytes, you can change out the Wi-Fi card if you ever want to, you can easily swap out the battery, and you can even add your own 2.5-inch SSD or hard disk drive if you want to further expand your storage. That's actually an impressive amount of upgradability despite being that thin and coming with an RTX 2060. So basically, the main question we need to answer is this: does the HP Omen 15 succeed at what it's meant for, being a budget gaming laptop? And the answer is definitely yes. HP did an excellent job of saving money where it doesn't matter very much for gamers, and focusing what can give you the best gaming experience for the lowest price, while also balancing all of the components to make sure they fit well together. The RTX 2060 offers a ton of graphics performance, being a perfect match for the 144Hz display at 1080p resolution. And the new 6-core processor and 16GB of RAM make sure that the graphics card doesn't get bottlenecked in any way, shape, or form. They also packed in Wi-Fi 6 and an Ethernet jack to make sure you're all set on the internet side. And not only did they give you a 1TB SSD, but they also added a spot for you to add your own 2.5-inch drive. So with all of that said, this is actually a really good laptop if all you really care about is gaming. And we fully recommend it for people that are on a budget. But if you want a more premium gaming experience where you can also do some productivity work, then we would push you towards something like a new Razer Blade, but expect to spend a lot more money. If you enjoyed this review, click the circle above to subscribe, and definitely check out the link to Micro Center down below. And also watch a review of the Blade Stealth right over there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.